So we got counseling.
Yeah, we definitely did.
There's this stigma associated with counseling that suggests that it's a bad thing, and I can't understand why. I guess it's because people are too prideful to admit that they need help.
People mustn't talk them business.
People mustn't talk them business. Yeah. Mustn't make anybody know about your struggles or what you're thinking or what. Yeah, I don't buy that.
It's a very toxic way of thinking, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when it got serious for us, we got counseling.
What type of counseling?
Alright. I'm talking about before I proposed to her. I'm talking about pre-engagement. What type of counseling do you think they thought I was talking about?
Xaundre, you know you're tricky people. Them.
I told y'all, we promised you a pre-engagement counseling video, and we are delivering on our promise. You guys have been asking for the longest while for this pre-engagement counseling video. It's finally here because we benefited a lot from pre-engagement counseling, and we'll tell you a little bit about our story with it and why we have gotten to the place where we advocate for pre-engagement counseling.
You know, Hollywood, the movies, the media has lied to people and kind of allowed us to think that engagements should be like a surprise.
Yeah.
And that, wow, as a matter of fact, when you proposed to me, one of the photographers, he was like, you never look shocked. Yeah. And I was like, I was surprised because it was obviously something I never know about, but I'm never shocked. And if you propose to somebody and them shock and drop down, I personally don't think that's healthy.
I also think you never did your homework. I think that's the problem.
No, but sometimes people drop down for different reasons. It could be out of excitement, but nevertheless, we don't believe that engagements should be shockers.
Or even worse, how can you propose to somebody and get no?
Yeah, that happens all the time. And those are the videos that go viral.
How do you get no? Like what were your conversations about before?
Yeah.
How do you get no? And I don't mean to be insensitive to whomever has gotten a no, but the problem is not you, the problem is your approach.
Yeah.
The idea that your first time asking the person to marry you should be this dramatic, picturesque kind of experience. I think there's something definitely wrong with that approach, and we're going to tell you what has worked for us and what we'd recommend that you do too.
Yeah, but nobody will get no?
Yes, actually, but I won't call them names. I do actually. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But they got yes a few. Like the person said yes, like up front, but then when they spoke behind the scenes, the person said actually no.
You can't tell me about So you never told me this before.
But yeah, so the person initially got a yes, like officially, but the person very reluctantly said yes.
Okay.
And then actually said no in private. And then they courted for another few months. And then they had another discussion about it and they said, okay, then yes. Yeah.
Oh. Anyways, if you're interested in learning about this type of counseling and hearing a little bit more about our story as relates to pre-engagement counseling, continue watching.
What happens when high school lovebirds get married?
They move to a new city and start a YouTube channel, of course.
Welcome to Adventures of XYZ. I'm Xaundre.
And I'm Zara.
I'm a doctor.
And I'm a lawyer.
But we both just really love sharing our faith and going on cool adventures.
So we created this channel to share our journey as we attempt to use biblical principles to navigate life.
And have a whole lot of fun doing it.
So, come along with us! So one of the biggest questions I get asked all the time is, what is the difference between like pre-engagement counseling and premarital counseling? Because this whole pre-engagement thing is a new concept, and even the engagement thing I think is like a more recent thing. Recent meaning maybe the past 50 years, I don't know.
Pull the number out of hat.
Pull it out of hat. I know. But one time it used to just be it used to be like you organize with the lady's parents to get married and then got married. You ask her hand in marriage through her parents. It wasn't this go on one knee type of thing in front of. It wasn't like that before. And even though I have known of people, and I know that you might know some people too who don't do the whole proposal thing.
Yeah, I know some people who don't believe in proposals really.
For whatever reason, and that's not the point of this video, but...
And I can kind of understand their apprehension if when they think of a proposal, they think of the first time that you are asking someone's hand in marriage. Or I also don't want to give the impression that you should ask behind the scenes, like officially, but then come for the show. But we'll tell you guys a little bit, or our thoughts on the principles that should underlie these decisions will come out in what we actually did.
Right.
And if you have not seen our engagement video, link in the description below. Please go and watch it. I'm sure you'll find it interesting.
Beautiful. You did a good job. Anyways, so the main difference between the pre-engagement counseling and the premarital counseling. For me, I think one of the main differences is the timing.
I think that's the single most important difference.
Right.
Essentially, pre-engagement counseling comes before you publicly officially ask the person to marry you, and I'll tell you a little bit about why that's important shortly. What's another reason?
The timing and like the depth of the conversations.
Yeah, another difference.
Of course, before you ask somebody to marry you, you're going to be having some very important conversations, but they look different from the ones that you ask after you have accepted the proposal. Right? So when you think that this person might be a person forever, then there are the conversations that you need to have so that you can solidify a decision. I think that's it. Because after you ask for the marriage, yes, you can always turn back, but then it kind of shaky, you know.
And I think that brings us to the next point, which is answering the question of why pre-engagement counseling is so important. I think the single most important reason for pre-engagement counseling is that there are no public expectations,
or your private expectations.
Your private expectations are kind of blunted, you know. They're kind of controlled at this point. So if there should be something that comes up in the counseling session that shows that you guys are either not compatible or just not ready, it's not too hard to say, no, we're not going to proceed with getting married this moment. But when you think about it, if you've already gone down on one knee and creased your shoe, bought the ring, and probably, you know, rent the venue, talk to the parents, let's hope you spoke to them. Let's hope you spoke
Suppose the person have a parents, our auntie, our sister,
our auntie, whomever you're going to be taking this person from, you need to get their permission. But that's beside the point. But after you've done all of that and you've gone public and the Instagram photos look nice and, you know, everybody telling you congratulations, let's say in that moment you find out that the person can't have kids, and, you know, it's something that the person knew before but they just never mentioned it, and at this point now they mention it, and then that's not something that you are okay with dealing with. But you already made the public move. Then what do you do now? Do you back out? And or do you stay even though in your mind this is something insurmountable? Or let's say you find out that there's some deep-seated defect of character that the person has no intentions of working on, you know. And by the way, I'm not saying if somebody can't have kids you shouldn't get married to them. No, what I'm saying is that these conversations need to be had beforehand so you know what you're getting into and you don't feel trapped, because the public now having something to say about the decision that you have made public is now pressure in one direction that you probably don't need when you're making such a big decision.
Basically, simplify life. You already did tell Auntie so-and-so say you got married, then now it's gonna be a thing where Auntie so-and-so says, so I'm not hearing anything about the wedding, you know, like I make good black cake and whatever.
Wow, the pressure is getting worse.
I've known persons who have had dates in mind and had to no longer go for those dates, and then I've also had an experience with...
When you say have dates in mind, as in so dates with other persons?
Dates, no man, them plan the dates at the wedding.
That kind of date.
And during because they never did pre-engagement counseling, they never had some hard conversations that they were supposed to have, and then during pre-marital counseling certain things came up when them realized say this not gonna work, and you know, it was heartbreaking because when you reach to that point and you never had the opportunity to discuss certain things, or you never had the opportunity to see certain parts of somebody, it's so much harder when you start tell others, when you bring others, because that's what a proposal does.
Yeah.
It brings others into your plan. So yes, you can have that 3 to 5 year plan. It solidifies the plan that you have with the person, but then it gives others the opportunity to give feedback. So
and to superimpose their expectations.
exactly. And for the couple that are new, it worked out well for them. They actually went to pre-engagement counseling, and when they got that third party's opinion, the third party said, I don't think you're ready. I don't think, and they thought they were ready. They thought they were ready. And the third party said, I don't think you're ready. I think they were just at 2 different stages of life, and they had different goals in the moment. One was in the midst of enjoying singleness, really wanted to do so much as a single person, wasn't ready to settle down, while the other one was at a place where she was ready. So I've seen it work out really well.
The reason number 1 is that it's not too hard to step back.
Reason number 2, you're forced to think about things that you wouldn't think about otherwise.
That's true. Like there are some hard to have conversations that will now be
in your face.
Yeah, because your counselor is going to ask you to think about these things.
Yeah.
There are going to be questions coming up that you never even thought were important. And honestly, guys, like, don't be fooled into thinking that you have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. You have all the answers?
Me not have all the answers.
And I've never thought I have all the answers.
No, I'm not think too far.
But honestly, guys, you don't have all the answers, so this is the perfect opportunity for you to have those topics brought to the fore by somebody who is experienced in the space. And reason number 3 is that you will make your intentions very clear. It's kind of important to be on the same page. You need, from this pre-engagement counseling session, to kind of establish where your thought process is and get where the other person's thought process is.
Alright guys, so we have 2 special surprises in this video, so we don't want you to miss them. Pay attention, and a hint, there is something to win.
Pre-engagement counseling is something that's not widely spoken about, so how did we stumble upon it? I mean, we find ourselves in the right circles sometimes, but
sometimes or all the time.
All the time.
We always end up in some place with some people who know more than us, and most times we just kind of just sit down like, oh, that's a thing. Did we hear about it the same time?
I heard about it from Millie and David.
Yeah, right. That's where I heard about it too. Big up Millie and David if you watch.
Big up Millie and David.
And what were your initial thoughts when you just heard it? What were you like, mind blown, or were you like, this is interesting?
I heard about it at a time when I wasn't considering it.
Okay.
So I never quite appreciated the importance of it, and it was something very novel at the time. At least in my estimation, because I've never heard anybody talk about it prior.
Right.
Kind of just passed me by as just, I think that sounds like it's important and I'll deal with it later on in life.
Versus when I heard about it, I was like, wow, this is a thing? It's a good thing. Like, and I was pretty excited and started doing research about it and realized that there's actually not a lot out there about it. And then our story kind of went in a similar way, where we wanted to find out what others thought about it. A lot of people never had any opinions. And then when we went to our pastor, which is a pastor that he was the one who did our wedding, Pastor Wilson, and he was Xaundre's pastor at one point for a few years, and he was my pastor for a few years. So we were really comfortable with him. We had pastors who were pastors of our home church, but we weren't going home.
Right. So our current pastors never really knew us well.
Right.
We never knew them. So we had to go to somebody that we trusted and we had already built a relationship with.
Yeah.
So we went to pastor and we started to tell him about our intentions to have a little session, pre-engagement counseling, and he said, all right. And then when we met for the first session, he said, I remember vividly, he's a very experienced pastor, and he said, all right, so what do you young people want us to talk about? And we go, pre-engagement counseling. And he goes, pre-engagement counseling? Tell me more about it. So we proceeded to tell him our expectations from pre-engagement counseling, because as I said, it's not something that's spoken of very widely. However, one thing that we made clear to him is that this is basically our trying to figure out if we should proceed with getting engaged. And he said, oh, So it's not really premarital counseling that you guys want. You want just a session to see where your headspaces are, to see if you should proceed. And we ended up having 2 sessions with him leading up to that point. And that is when he started, like, he kind of got from what we wanted, a curriculum that he would use for our 2 sessions. And then we had 2 sessions with him. They were very, very good. We learned a lot about each other, and they really concretized our decision to proceed with marriage, and certainly my decision to now start going behind her back and planning the surprise engagement.
And I remember him saying, I don't want to see you guys again unless it's premarital counseling.
Yeah, he's like, you people know what you're doing at
Don't
this
come
point.
back. Hey you, if you're liking this video so far, please click the like button, share with a friend. And if you're new here, welcome to the family. Click that subscribe button. And what do you look for?
I just wanted to be close to your face on the thing.
And turn the notification bell on so you never miss another upload. Alright, back to the video. It's such a mush. So we started pre-engagement counseling. So about a year and a half before, maybe about a year
Before we got married?
a year before you proposed. Yeah.
All of a year?
Yeah.
I don't think it was all of a year.
It was about that, Zan.
We saw the next step being proposal,
Yes,
engagement.
at some point.
But we weren't sure how to make it work because I was in med school, she was in law school.
Yeah.
I was about to start internship for like forever. I was about to start internship for a year and then residency for like forever. So when do we get married?
Yeah.
You know, and I got the impression from discussions that we had that Zara had in her mind that she'd be getting married sometime in her 20s. Me, no, I had in my mind that I was getting married sometime after residency. But I just never thought it through properly. And then when I
thought it through.
never thought it through at all.
You never did tongue it. With that said, we're going to get to surprise number 1. So for this surprise, I want you all to stop what you're doing and grab your phone, or
Can I get some of your water?
yeah man, if you're watching this on your phone, screenshot it, or if you're watching it on your TV or your computer, you can take a picture of the screen, post it on your stories, and tag us at Adventures of XYZ on Instagram. Let your followers or your friends know what you've been learning from this video so far, and you have a chance to win a $50 gift card from Amazon over the next 48 hours. So if you do post after the 48 hours after this video is posted, you know you can't win anything, but you get a little
Still post it.
still post it. Yeah, who knows,
Somebody might benefit from
somebody might benefit, or you might win something. Who knows, we might just feel nice and generous
Just
that
give a
day
next
and just
$50.
give a next $50. Who knows? But yes, the giveaway really is 48 hours after we post this video, and you would have tagged us. You have the opportunity to be entered into the giveaway to get $50 off your next Amazon purchase. So yeah,
Or $50 should be able to cover your Amazon bill.
I love free things. You're excited, sorry, no?
Let's talk about some of the things that we actually discussed during pre-engagement counseling that we probably would not have otherwise spoken about.
Oh, that's a good one. One of the biggest things would possibly be my apprehension. You know how
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you. But before we talk about her apprehension, a little bit of the story of how we got here. Because the last thing they know is that I wanted us to get married after residency.
Right.
Anyway, guys, I came to my senses, realized how nonsensical that proposal was.
How can I breathe without you here by my side? How could
Basically, I wasn't going to survive
when your love brought me
internship,
to the
residency.
line.
We're talking about 8 years without my baby girl. That was
Where would
just
I go
it never made sense.
when your heart's where I lay?
Is that saying that we have only 4 minutes left on the memory card?
That's exactly what it's saying.
I was telling you guys that I thought I was going to get married after residency. Having come to my senses, I realized, okay, that makes no sense. So let's get married sooner. So let's get married like maybe around the end of internship. And then when we started to have conversations about it, Zara's expectations were kind of fixed on that after internship time being a good time for her, and then I thought it was a good time for me too. And let's just say that life started to happen and I realized, boy, I don't think I can survive the entire year without her. So
You wouldn't did him?
you wouldn't did.
No, you wouldn't did.
Retrospectively, having lived the last 4 months with her, I'm very happy that I did not choose that after internship option because I would have died.
You,
I would have died.
you wouldn't did though.
I would
You're a
have died.
strong black man. But yeah, so I think timeline, and I remember Pastor asking us, you know, what's the whole back when we're talking about, you know, the fact that we're just finishing school, and he was like, what's the whole back? so I think having that like kind of affirmation, somebody else saying that, yeah, it's not a very crazy idea, a lot of people have done it, you will be fine, you will survive, it's not that big of a deal, and you know, like you can do it. And I think also it kind of helped me with planning, because right then and there we were like, okay, so we're pulling up the timeline from what we had initially expected when we wanted to done school, and well, we did finish school, and we actually both started working before. But it was, I expected that we're going to work at least 2 years to save for a wedding and to start buy stuff for a house and all of that, right? So when I realized that that's not going to work, and also I was even thinking about going into when I start working, and remember I had this big issue about me never want to go anywhere where would give me like a contract that was going to bound me, and then when I want to move to Mobile I wouldn't be able to move and whatever. So then and there I knew that I had to now set up systems so that I could be the one, because Xaundre was a little bit harder for him to be flexible. But I already could see ways where I could be flexible. You know, the thing is, you know, your situation as you watch this might be different. So it might not be that you need to set up a timeline with your career or your profession, but it might be that, because one of the topics that, and I guess it's kind of going into what we talk about in pre-engagement counseling, and one of the things that your pre-engagement counselor might bring up is triggers, and if you've had any like childhood trauma, and possibly those are things that you will now be forced to work on even before a proposal comes up, because bringing those things into a marriage and into the marital process, and just into that process that now your mind is kind of focused on becoming one, it might be something that you have to work on before you start thinking about that, and you might not know that when you're just you and the other person. So yeah, that's something else, but everybody's situation is so different.
It is.
Oh yeah, hug me up. I think you make a nice vlog. Vlog it. It's not a vlog, it's a, we're just holding a meds, you understand? Hold a reason. What are some things that we discussed? Because I'm sure that's kind of why people are watching this. We discussed stuff like our faith. Yeah,
so we kind of just set the record clear, you know?
Yeah. And we talk about stuff like
how we were going to manage to be independent human beings.
What was our plan for even getting to marriage? What we're working towards, things that we needed to work on as people. So one of the issues that I've had is kind of like an issue of, I don't know if independent girl is a syndrome. Being too independent is an issue that I've been learning how to deal with.
Because basically in life you move from being dependent on your parents, then to being independent when you go to university and probably start working, and then to become interdependent when you enter a marriage. So we kind of had to gear up for that period of, or for this period of interdependence.
And I think learning that during pre-engagement counseling helped me, because I'm coming from a very strong single woman led household. Okay, my mother can do bad all by herself, and she has done wonderfully, you know, raising me, her one and only pride and joy. So I mean, kind of understanding how to unlearn some of the things and to be able to depend on you during that time before you even propose, I kind of help you to see me in a different light, maybe, so that we could, you could know that this is exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah, and one other thing that Pastor mentioned that really stood out to me is that he asked what were our parents' thoughts on our getting married.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want for it to come up in premarital counseling that your potential in-laws don't like you.
Yeah.
That's not the time you want it to come up. You want that to come up from early on so you can deal with it. Thankfully, that was not our situation.
So that you can go to the root of it.
Exactly. You need time to work through these things before it becomes public knowledge that you are preparing to take that big step, because these things will weigh on you.
It's true.
And they will especially break you when people, at the same time you're trying to work through this potential rejection, people are behind you asking you when is the date.
Yes.
Like, you don't want that on your shoulders.
Wow, the pressure is getting worse.
We spoke about our short and medium term plans.
Yes. We spoke a little bit about communication and love languages, but not so much.
Yeah.
So I think that is the difference too. In pre-engagement, you don't go as deep. You don't talk about like finances to the depth of how we talk about it in marriage. You don't talk about in premarital counseling. We never had a sex conversation really in our pre-engagement counseling.
No.
But I think possibly if people who are already sexually active, possibly mentioning it in pre-engagement counseling would be important, and also we never really, but we had questions that we had certain questions of us that we were going through during that time.
True.
Yeah.
True. So another really big part of this pre-engagement counseling process for us was that we had questions that we wanted answers to, and you may also have questions that you want to be answered. You want to ask them of your pre-engagement counselor before you get to proposing, because then the questions, and I'll say it a million times, I know I've said it a million times before, it becomes 10 times harder when there is that public perception that you're preparing to make the step and everybody is saying something, everybody has their expectations for you.
Yep.
So do it from before you even go down on your knee and crease your shoe.
Well, yeah, talk to the guy, but it's both of y'all. It's both of y'all. So you're in a relationship, pre-engagement counseling?
Please do it.
Definitely.
As a matter of fact, we think we should let you guys know right here, right now, that because pre-engagement counseling is so hard to come upon, and not a lot of persons offer it, can also be quite pricey depending on where you are.
Yeah.
We wanted, and we believe in it so much.
Strongly believe in it.
It has helped us so much. We wanted to create for you guys a system that allows you.
Come again. Second surprise, guys.
Oh, this is the second surprise. We wanted to create a system that allows you to get the benefit of pre-engagement counseling without necessarily having to spend a lot of money, and also without having to go through the struggles of trying to find somebody who you trust, who you know what they're doing,
and who offers it,
and who offers
and
it,
who
because
has the time.
That's also another one. It takes a lot of time, for people to go through and do pre-engagement counseling with everybody who is potentially in that bracket of people who kind of feel like they may want to proceed but not too sure.
Yeah.
So we will be filming a masterclass.
Yeah, we're not experts. We consider ourselves your big brother, big sister.
Big.
If we are the same age, sister, brother.
Or if you're a little older than we are. We just found ourselves in the right circles at the right time to learn the right kind of stuff. And now we want to teach it back to you guys.
So it's like, we're kind of like relationship mentors, but it's not that big of a deal.
Not like official, but like kind of.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of those people, and we benefited a lot from them. And you'll hear us call their names from time to time.
And obviously we can't have one-on-one with all the people who'd want this. So yeah.
And you guys should see our DMs, especially hers.
Especially mine. A lot of people want it, and
a lot of people have been asking about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people come to us for questions. So what we are doing is that we are collating all of our thoughts on the topic, all of the lessons we've been learning, and kind of putting together a curriculum where you can essentially learn what you need to learn about pre-engagement counseling, and you can also have access to us through the email and so on to get your questions answered if you should decide to take this pre-engagement masterclass.
It's like a masterclass, but we have different lessons, so we're trying to put it on some platform. I'm not so sure yet, but yeah, if you want to be the first to hear about it, we're going to be dropping our wait list down below, so you can sign up, tell your friend to tell a friend, aunties tell the young people them, send, go give your niece, your nephew, your brother, your sister, your auntie, everybody, and you can put your name on the wait list and your email address, and you'll be the first person to know about it when it's launched. We'll try to make it as affordable as possible, because really, you know, we have to pay bills. That's the point. We have to pay bills, so you'll definitely cover the admin cost, but for sure we'll try our best to make sure it's very accessible.
And if you're not even in a position where you want pre-engagement counseling, but you know somebody who would benefit from this experience, it's a great gift to give.
Definitely.
It's a great gift to give.
Definitely.
So we're going to work on that for you, and you just drop your name on the wait list below, link in the description.
So that's our take on pre-engagement counseling. We think it's super beneficial. If you're in a relationship and it's getting serious, we highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. And I feel like we're in a zone right now, Xaun, where a lot of people want to get better. They want to do better, and I think it's beautiful to see young people trying to become better version of themselves. And you know, that's why we love this space so much, because of all that it offers and all of these conversations that we can have together.
And remember that we're also trying to help you along that journey. We think we have a lot to offer to you guys.
And thank you as usual for joining us on our journey. We share as we learn always. And you know, that's kind of one of the things where we're also not afraid to fail and stumble and come tell you know. That's why we're going to always be your favorite oversharers.
Trust me, y'all will always know what's going on.
But thank you guys, thank you so much for tuning in on this episode of
Adventures of XYZ. Bye guys.